everyone, my name is Anne Weil. I write the blog Flax and Twine, where you'll find all sorts of projects and patterns for the modern maker. I also wrote the book Knitting Without Needles, which is all about finger and arm knitting and the fabulous things you can make. And I'm so excited to teach you how to finger knit today. First, I'm going to put these samples aside because I'm going to share that with you in a little bit. And first, I just wanted to share some of the fabulous things you can make with finger knitting. So you can end up making things like this fabulous octopus, these adorable little booties, a beautiful headband. These are all finger knit items. You also, when you increase your skills even more, you can attach finger knitting without sewing. This is while you're finger knitting. And this is a fabulous scarf or even a blanket. So, or this basket. This basket is finger knit. So this is a beginning finger knit class, so I'm not going to show you how to make those items, but eventually you will be able to do those things as you build your finger knitting skills. So I just want to show you the different kind of materials and sizes of yarn and things you can use and how that affects your finger knitting. So we have here, these are all samples of finger knitting with 2 fingers only. And you see you can range from very tiny to using some twine to chunky and bulky, super bulky. These are both super bulky, but 2 varying sizes. Some rope, and this is a very chunky specialty yarn. So you can really run the gamut in terms of sizes and shapes, and that obviously affects the patterns you make. And here you are samples of 4-finger finger knitting. So you have again those sport twine. This is a chunky. This is a super bulky, one size of a super bulky, and here's another size of a super bulky yarn. So they look like this tube, and I want to just show you that when you pull this apart, you can see here that these are the backs of the stitches. These are basically the purls of the finger knitting, and these are the knits of the finger knitting. What happens is after you're done finger knitting, when you pull both ends, the ends curl in and make this tube-like shape. But you can see, for example, here in this scarf, if you keep the knitting flat, you can create this flat surface. So we're going to start with the 4-finger knitting method, and I like to start with a worsted weight or a slightly chunky weight yarn because I think it makes it easy to manage on your fingers. When you get bigger or smaller, it gets a little trickier. But we're just going to hold our left hand upright like this, and we're going to cast on. So what you want to do is lay the yarn over your hand with this kind of about a 4 or 5 inch tail, and we're going to bring the yarn up over our forefinger and behind our middle finger, over our ring finger, and behind our pinky. So we've done the first line there. Now we're going to continue around our pinky, under our ring finger, over our middle finger, and around our forefinger. And we're going to keep going in that same pattern, in that same over-under pattern. So we've now gone around our forefinger. We're going to go under our middle finger, over our ring finger, around our pinky, under our ring finger, and over our middle finger. So you'll see here, you've got the tail laying here, and I'm going to refer to this as the working yarn, what goes to the ball, up here. And on each finger you have 2 strands, and that's what you want for that initial cast on. Now we're going to actually start knitting our first row, and so to do that we're going to bring the lower strand on each of these fingers up over the top strand. So we're going to start here, we're going to bring that lower strand up and over the upper strand and over our pinky. We're going to do the same with the next one. Bring this lower strand over the upper strand and then over our finger. Same with our middle finger. And then with this tail, you're just going to bring this over and in between these 2 fingers. Now we're gonna put on the next row. We take the working yarn and we again bring it around the forefinger, under the middle finger, over the ring finger, around the pinky, under the ring finger, and over the middle finger. And so there you see you have those 2 strands on every single finger again. We're going to start with our pinky. We're going to take the lower strand, bring it up and over our pinky. There's that lower strand going over. Do the same on our middle finger and the same on our forefinger. Sometimes it's easier when you're starting to keep it really close down towards your palm, but it does make the stitches a little bigger and less consistent because you're pulling them way up over your finger. So I find to get consistent stitches that it works to keep them kind of in that middle section of your fingers, and even maybe a little bit higher on your pinky there. So let's go ahead and wrap for the next row. We're gonna go around our forefinger, under our middle, over our ring, around our pinky, under our ring, and over our middle. So here we are again, and we're gonna take the next bottom row and bring it up over our pinky, over our ring, over our middle, over our forefinger. And then I push it down a little bit so that it's not so close to the top, and we do the next one. And you'll start to get this rhythm with the over-under pattern so that you get it and you can start doing it really fast. We're going to bring that lower strand over, and you'll see I love doing it as an adult, but kids also love doing finger knitting and keeping their hands busy. It really keeps their hands busy. I find it's really nice to have kids do this while you're reading out loud to them, things like that. So we're going to keep going. So you'll see it doesn't look a lot like it does. When you're done, it's going to look more like this because you've pulled those ends and the sides come together. But on your hand, you can see the pearls on the back here. And if you flip this strand over, it's more that you can see more of the knits. Now, to pull this so that you start to see something that looks more familiar, you want to pull that tail and you can see those knit stitches start to form on the back of your hand. And again, that knit faces the back of your hand and the pearl faces up. So let's keep going. What if you've done a lot of finger knitting and you want to take a break? Well, all you need to do is to take these stitches off and put them onto some sort of holder. So that can be like a pencil or a pen or something like this. I like to use this chopstick that I have. And you want to just bring the pencil or pen or whatever the object is up underneath the stitches. So first you want to start with your pinky and then your ring finger, then your middle finger, and then your forefinger. And so you can take that off and set it down and just take a break. Now when you come back, when you pick it up, you want to look at it and you can see that the working yarn should be coming from the stitch that was on your middle finger. So that's how you know kind of which way it should go back on. So what you want to do is put this back on your forefinger, back on your middle finger, back on your ring finger, and back on your pinky. Just like that. And you can push that back down, pick up the working yarn. It should be coming from between your middle finger and your forefinger, and you just keep on stitching. The other thing people ask is, what if it falls off or you lose a stitch? So I'm going to show you what happens if this comes off. So the first thing you want to do is start to pull this apart and find those purl stitches. So you can see here, when I pull this apart, that the purl side is here and the knit side is here. See those knit stitches? So you know that you want the back of your hand to be facing those knit stitches. And you're going to come up here and you'll see, okay, the yarn, now I know this is oriented towards my hand the right way, but the yarn is coming from the pinky. Well, I know it's not supposed to come there when I'm starting, and it's not supposed to be coming from here. If I pull that one out, and it's not supposed to be coming from your forefinger either, it should be coming from your middle finger, and that's this second stitch. So that's the where you want the yarn coming, so that's the next step. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna squeeze those stitches back onto your forefinger, and you wanna make sure that they're not twisted, onto your middle finger, onto your ring finger, and this pinky one will be twisted because you've gone around your pinky, but you get those all back on. Now let's talk about how you're going to finish this. So you've got these stitches on your fingers. You want to cut your end so you have room to bring this through the stitches. And you see how the last stitch you made is around your middle finger. Well, that's going to be important as we do this. You want to take your tail and again go in order, bring it underneath your pinky, underneath your ring finger, but now instead of going underneath your middle finger, you want to go under your forefinger and then your ring finger. So now we're going to take this off our fingers and pull that tight, and that gives you a nice end there, and you have your beginning. And there's your nice, beautiful finger knit strand. Congratulations, that's awesome. It looks gorgeous. Now I'm going to show you how to finger knit with just 2 fingers instead of 4. It's pretty simple. You follow the same sort of directions. You start with that tail in between your thumb and forefinger. We're going to bring the yarn over our forefinger, around our middle finger, around our forefinger, around our middle finger. So again, you're only using 2 fingers to knit. You're starting with your middle finger, bring that lower stitch over, then you're going to bring your tail over. So now you just have 1 strand on each finger. We're going to bring the working yarn around our forefinger and around our middle finger and do that again. Bring that lower strand over. You can push those stitches down. Take our working yarn, bring it around our forefinger, around our middle finger, and that's it. You just keep going, and if you ever need to stop, it's the same thing. You just put those stitches onto a holder of some sort. The working yarn always comes off in between your forefinger and your middle finger, the same way it does with regular finger knitting. We're just going to keep going here and make a number of rows and then bind off. So after you have about 10 to 12 stitches, you can go ahead and cut that strand and take the tail that you've made, and again you want to, because the last loop comes around your middle finger, you want to go through the forefinger, under the forefinger strand first and then under the middle finger like that, and then you want to pull that tight. So there's that pretty 2-finger strand, and here's how that compares to the 4-finger strand. So you can see you just would make different sorts of things with those 2 things. So those are your basic finger knitting skills, and I just want to show you one more time a couple of the things you can make. This is a 2-finger knit strand, 2 of them, and it's just sewn with a little elastic to give you a headband. Here's a really cute octopus that's made from 2-finger knit strands. These are all projects in my book, Knitting Without Needles. These are little booties made by stitching 4-finger strands by attaching the strands to themselves as you go. So that's a more advanced technique. This is also that same way. This basket is made with 2-finger strands, but you basically attach it as you finger knit. And then this is a way of attaching 4-finger strands together as you go, as you knit, to make a wider fabric. You can see the individual 4-finger strands here. So you make one, and then as you're making the next one, you attach it to the strand before. So those are all more advanced techniques, but I want to just show you some of the fabulous things you can make with finger knitting. And I hope you've enjoyed this work we've done today. It's been super fun to be here with you, and I look forward to more tutorials in the future.